Juan Pablo Mobili was born in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and now is an adopted son of the city and state of New York for over 40 years. The son of a teacher and a poet, he came of age in his native country during a tragic period of its history when many thousands of young men and women were unconstitutionally detained, tortured, and often murdered. His poems bear the memory of those times and also embrace his life in the United States, his home for many years. What he loves and troubles him as a citizen of one family and two countries. His poems have appeared or are forthcoming in First Literary Review East, The Poetry Distillery, Anti-Heroin Chic, Red Planet Magazine, Mason Street, The Red Wheelbarrow Review, and the Journal of American Poetry. In addition, he published a chapbook of poems written in collaboration with Madasala Mobili, maybe you can correct me on that one, sorry, called Three Unknown Poets, published by Saranam Press in 2018. Juan, take it away.
Thank you. I want to thank you, Trina, and you, Rich, for having me, and my friend Joan Gottlieb for having mentioned my name to you, and to all of you. I think it's great that, it's Friday night and we're listening to poets. I mean, either that give us hope or we have no lives, one of the two, but it's great. So the first poem has a little bit to do with my young years in Argentina. Sometimes I say my parents have died a long time ago, but they still come and visit me, and there are poems to prove that they showed up. So this is my telling of a story I was told I was not there for, about my father. It's called God, My Father, and the Bombing of the Churches. My father was an atheist. He insisted on it. Every time the conversation drifted toward religion, or talk became about making my mother mad. My mother was the daughter of the devout president of Our Lady of the Gardens Alumni Association, the convent school across the street. My grandmother was furious that his child would fall in love with someone who had forsaken Jesus and would only offer my father a stare as cold as Gabriel's sword. But the story is really about 1954, when our president decided to empty every hangar in Buenos Aires and bomb the churches of our city. The roaring of white light began early. My grandmother, true to the Lord's mission, walked to the convent and commanded the 9 resident nuns to take refuge in the safety of her home, a mere 50 feet away from where they lived. My father, the thin man without a God, was there and spent the night making them laugh, pouring them tea, and tending to 9 frightened sisters. Whenever he was not standing on the roof, cursing the bombers, daring the bombs, a cigarette between his lips, while they lit up the skies of Buenos Aires. The explosions went on all night, but not a single bomb ever fell close to Our Lady of the Garden. Then morning broke, and the bombers fled like vampires to the shelter of their coffins. And the nuns walked single file back to their convent, led by my father, who insisted on seeing them to safety. That was also the moment, my mother told me, and she swayed in the memory of a triumph, when my grandmother fell in love with the only atheist she'd ever cared to love. I know my father was given a medal by the nuns. It was gold-plated with the Holy Mother's face on it. And although he never carried it, he saved it, just in case heaven existed.